Back in August, I rode the Legend at Holiday World for the first time in 2 years, and I had an incredible ride. It went from one of my least favorite wooden coasters to one of the best. So I re-ranked it, moved it way up, and when I filtered out my list to only include wooden coasters, I found that it ranked all the way to number 32. Double checked. Turns out I've ridden a lot of awesome wooden coasters, and today I'm gonna talk about the best ones. Out of 93 wooden coasters on my list, these are the 20 best. Just to give you an idea of what kind of coasters just missed the list, here are my number 25 through 21. Apocalypse at Six Flags Magic Mountain, Texas Stingray at SeaWorld San Antonio, Prowler at Worlds of Fun, Raven at Holiday World, and Timber Terror at Silverwood. Let's dive into the list. Number 20. Thunderhead at Dollywood. Here's your classic GCI layout, and it was so impressive when it opened in 2004 that it won the Golden Ticket Award for the world's best wooden coaster. This used to be way higher on my list, but my 2019 rides didn't do much for me. But it's still an out-of-control experience and clings to a top 20 spot. Number 19. Switchback at ZDT's. The world's only shuttle coaster has to make this list, taking place at a family fun center an hour east of San Antonio, Texas. The Gravity Group was super innovative by cramming a thrilling layout into a tiny space. This thing is a low-key masterpiece. Even though it rides like a family coaster, it's fun for everyone. Number 18. Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. Once upon a time, this was on my bucket list. And even though it looked like it would be closed the day I went to Lake Compounce, a miracle happened and it opened up for the last 2 hours of the day. I grabbed 3 rides and was overall disappointed. For a wooden coaster so hyped up and decorated with awards, I expected better. But anyway, ride it for the mountain setting. It's one of the coolest coaster settings ever. Number 17. Ravine Flyer 2 at Waldameer. Another hyped up woody that didn't live up to it. It's still a strong layout with some good airtime. I just think it would benefit from Timberliner trains. Those PTC trains take a lot of the airtime away with the rough patches pushing the bar down. But those airtime moments, especially the ones over the road, and the wooded setting, make this coaster one that you should definitely take the time to ride. Number 16. Comet at Hershey Park. I admit that my 2020 ride on this was a little weaker than my first one, but everything at Hershey Park was running slow on that cold day. My first 2 rides in 2018 don't lie. This old classic woody is an airtime machine, and it's super underrated. It seems like an afterthought at its own park when talking about the other 2 wooden coasters, and those don't come anywhere near this list. Number 15. Mindblower at Fun Spot Kissimmee. This Gravity Group from 2017 is one coaster that I really want to get back to. It's been over 2 years since I rode it, but I did get a total of 8 rides that day in the front and the back, so I got a great feel for it. Great drop, great airtime, awesome inversion, but it would be so much higher if it was smoother. Even though it was just 1 year old when I rode it, the roughness was really annoying and it made it hard to marathon, but I still did it because this ride is awesome. Number 14. Coaster at Playland. 62 years old and still absolutely awesome. This old Canadian woody throws you out of your seat with basically no restraint. Just a bar that sits more than a foot from your lap. Front or back, the airtime will fling you around in a way that seems kinda dangerous. But I don't think anyone has ever fallen out, so make sure that you aren't the first one. Number 13. Viper at Six Flags Great America. It's been 3 years since I rode this, and I definitely need to get back to rejudge it. I rode this backward twice and forward twice, and it was the forward rides that made me rank this so high. The backward rides were also smooth and full of airtime, but that's more of a novelty. The forward rides made me appreciate how good the coaster is, and I went in with no expectations. Number 12. American Thunder at Six Flags St. Louis. I went in expecting something good, and got something even better. Smooth, airtime packed, easily one of the best GCIs I've ever ridden. I've heard people kinda trashing it lately, and it's been almost 2.5 years since I rode it. But now that I'm in Oklahoma, I should have more chances to hit up Six Flags St. Louis. Number 11. Gold Striker at California's Great America. The second best GCI doesn't even crack the top 10. That's how good some of the woodies from the other manufacturers are. I'm a weird one that ranks this as the best ride at Great America. Just a really strong, large-scale GCI with lots of airtime pops and an out-of-control feeling. It could use some retracking, so maybe with the park being closed for a year, they can do some work on it. Number 10. Goliath at Six Flags Great America. I've been dropping this little by little over the years. This was a top 5 Woody not that long ago, but it's a different kind of RMC and not really in a good way. This has 2 airtime moments, albeit very good ones, 2 very cool inversions, and the rest is just filler. It's a short ride and a crazy rush, but doesn't deserve to be any higher. Number 9. Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. Congrats to Outlaw Run for leapfrogging Goliath and no longer being the weakest non-Raptor RMC that I've ridden. My 2020 rides have given me a little more appreciation for the coaster after my first rides in 2018. I went in thinking it would be great, and it was disappointing. But going into my 2020 trips with lower expectations, I walked away thinking the layout was really strong, and the ride is really out of control. I wish they could smooth out some of the rough patches. If they did this, it would jump even higher. Number 8. Phoenix at Knoebels. Phoenix got a nice bump after my 2020 rides. If you saw my video a couple weeks ago, I got some better rides where the airtime was stronger compared to my first go around. Phoenix was kind of like Outlaw Run. I had high expectations for my first rides, and it took another trip to the park to appreciate it a little more. It's still not the best. No way it's number 1 in the world, but it's still a really good Woody. Number 7. Hades 360 at Mount Olympus. 2 back row rides is all it took for this to break into my top 10. This is such a beast of a ride with so many unique elements and great airtime moments. Plus, it's a crazy long ride. Is it rough? Yeah, but not too bad. Maybe just avoid marathoning it. Number 6. Zippin' Pippin at Bay Beach. Another coaster where all I have is 2 back row rides, and that's all I needed. This is the best hidden gem in the country, located at a small public park in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The first half is Floater City. Great floater coming down every single hill. And then it just jolts you out of your seat on that ejector death hill as the cherry on top of this super underrated ride. It's hard to get all the way up to Green Bay, but if you can do it, it's worth it. Number 5. Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. I was blown away after the first rides I got in 2018. I had never ridden a wooden coaster this smooth and this out of control with solid airtime. I came back in 2020 and it was every bit as good the second time around. It gave me hope that all new GCIs would be like this, but I did not get the same experience with Texas Stingray. So Mystic Timber stands out as a really outstanding ride experience. To think that this was just kind of a filler coaster for Kings Island when they were prepping for Orion. Number 4. Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. I love Ghost Rider. I've always loved Ghost Rider. I will always love Ghost Rider. It was my number 1 overall coaster for 7 years, and even though it's moved down over the last 12 years, it's still in my top 10 overall, and not just for wooden coasters. It's a near perfect layout, mixing airtime with laterals and riding through its own structure. And with that GCI retracking back in 2016, it's as smooth as ever. Number 3. Lightning Rod at Dollywood. If this was running as fast as it did in its opening year, it could be even higher, but it's been slowed down a little bit to make it more reliable. I'd rather take a slowed down lightning rod than a closed one, so that's fine. It's also gotten rougher over the years, just like all RMC Woodies. But let's look at the layout and all of those amazing elements in the woods, along with the epic quad down finale. It's one of the most impressive wooden coasters ever built. Number 2. Voyage at Holiday World. Here's the biggest winner of the list, jumping from my number 5 wood all the way to number 2 after my 2020 rides. I had complaints about the airtime being weak and the track being rough, but you can throw all of that out the window after the work that was put in the ride over the past off-season. This ride is long, out of control, out in the woods, airtime everywhere. And then you have the trimless night rides, which are just out of this world. But even without those special rides that you can only get during Hollywood Nights, the ride impressed me enough during my day rides that I'm willing to put it all the way up at number 2. This coaster just keeps winning me over. Number 1. El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. There was never any doubt about this one. El Toro is my borderline number 1 overall coaster, and it was my outright number 1 for 10 years. This has 4 of the greatest airtime moments you'll ever find, so even without the quantity, it more than makes up for it in the quality. You don't find too many people downplaying how good this coaster is. Its name translates to the bull, and it feels like you're riding a bull that's trying to toss you off its back. It's gotten a little rough recently, which is understandable. It is 14 years old, but nothing to complain about. I really wonder if there's any wooden coaster out there that'll ever top El Toro. That's all for my top 20 wooden coasters. Let me know what you think of this list and which wooden coasters top your list. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like. And if you're new here and love seeing things get ranked up, you should definitely subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.